we're going to start off talking about some teams that we want to see in Formula One. They could be historic teams that left the grid, um, you know, a manufacturer that you think would just do really well and suit the sport, or maybe even a team that rebranded, changed its name, and ultimately then beat the team that's being powered by its old owners, and things like that. But Owain, just because you're unmuted, what team do you want to see back in F1 or even new F1, new to
Uh,
F1?
That's what I get for being unmuted. I'd like to go with Lola, who have been in and out of F1 for quite a while in some way, and sort of more, from what I can tell, more involved in sort of the early '60s, early '60s, '70s, and the '80s. But they've been around in some form all the way up. I think they were even trying to talk about getting onto the grid back in 2019, and some of the cars that they would have designed back then. I mean, obviously it's a completely different set of people at this point. There's apparently the chassis for Honda's second race winning F1 car. Yeah, no, I'm not going back to the Mastercard era of the Lola team, but apparently the chassis for the Honda RA300, which is in my opinion the best looking F1 car ever made, was basically was a Honda chassis was a Lola chassis with a Honda engine in it, and they're well known in endurance racing and things like that. But for developing the chassis for I think it's the top class of hypercar racing. I can't quite remember. You have to pick from one of the four manufacturers, and I think they might be one of them, but I could be wrong. But I'd like to see Lola back. I think that'd be interesting rather than picking a manufacturer out of thin air. Like Toyota's back already, and things like that. So and clearly they've got the knowledge base to do it. So I think that'll be interesting.
Ah, well, apparently they just rejoined Formula E. Is that Formula E, Tom,
It,
or is that
Yeah,
F1?
they were in the
Yeah.
Sao Paulo race last week. So yeah, they're back.
it's all right.
Oh.
No one cares. Like
Well, I heard the entry was priceless, but Tom, how about you? What teams do you want to see in Formula One?
Oh, lots, as many as possible. So I think I had to think about this, and it's like I've kind of got three like that I'd love to see, and you've got something that could happen, you got something that won't happen, and something that just can't happen. So like that's kind of my three kind of areas I've got here. So something that I think could happen: a fully funded proper Lotus outfit. Like not a chancer, not this whole group Lotus, team Lotus debacle we had in the 2010s, and so I'd like to see a proper well-funded effort. A billionaire comes in and just decides he's going to take the Lotus name back, and we see the JPS livery, not sponsored by Rich Energy, on a Lotus car, and then going for it. And then they do a special one-off livery with green and yellow, which isn't a Caterham, and we just see like the proper Lotus name back in F1. That would be great. Something that won't happen would be Prost. Oh, actually, I think Prost didn't get a fair crack at it. I think he would actually make a really good team boss in Formula One. So a Prost team, but I'm going to caveat it: no French influence, none of this super team rubbish, none of this Peugeot and two French drivers and French manufacturing and all that kind of stuff. It's not because I'm having to go at the French, but at the end of the day, they tend to kind of put themselves in their own little box and then just limit themselves. And like you see that with Renault even now. And it's not just, it seems to be like they're a very proud nation. They tend to want to stay with their own. And as a result, they tend to just cause like this infighting because they classically tend to fight a lot as well. So I would love to see that have another crack as well. So maybe it would be like Prost becomes a team principal of an already existing team, something like that. And then the other one, which just can't happen, would be Minardi. But Minardi as the 12th team in F1 from 2026, exactly as they were, on a shoestring, absolute no-hopers, back of the grid every week. Once every 10 years, they might get a point and it's celebrated like they've won the championship. We want to cheer for the back markers, trying to get in the 107%, not qualifying some weeks. I want to see that back in F1.